How's everybody been? Been a pretty long week for me. Haven't been out here since last time I talked to you. Got grass all over me. Been out cutting 3 acres of grass, trying to get it done before it rains. Trying to get set up so I can come out here and hang out with you guys. You know, I really like doing it. So last time got that all took care of. I'm pretty happy with it, and it's done. At least as done as I'm gonna get it for now. But this other side still has issues. So I think probably not better issues. Maybe just different. And one thing I keep thinking I'm going to tell you guys, and I always forget, is how I do my spot welds. Now, how I get spot welds out is how I do it. You can take some ideas and figure out how you want to do it. If you're here to figure out how to take out spot welds, I don't know. It seems pretty simple to me. There's lots of videos on it that, probably 100 of them are 10 times better than mine. But mine's pretty simple. So what I'm going to do is shut you off, get you around here so you can get a good look at it and see what I'm going to do. Alright, see you in a sec. Somebody's texting me on my phone. You know, it was great when I didn't have signal in this barn. I got a new phone now, I got signal, and now everybody can call me and stuff. Yeah, you know, I'll just leave the phone in the house. That way. Alright, so first we got the little cheapy hammer drill set up from, I think it was Menards. Not bad. I had a DeWalt that I bought from a guy. It's kind of hard on his luck. Bought a DeWalt with the hex drive. It was used. The battery was new and the charger was there. And that kind of changed my outlook on the whole working on cars and stuff, because it's pretty badass. So for home, I bought one of these. It comes with a drill too, 2 batteries and a charger. Power's all the same. Batteries just don't last as long as the DeWalt or maybe a Milwaukee or something. But I think it was $100 for 120 bucks maybe. Pretty cool. So Harbor Freight sells these core 1/8 inch drill bits that are hex drive. They're sharper than heck, but it's like $4 for 3 of them. And so I like to start sort of a pilot hole. And what I've noticed is, of course, you can see the dark spots. There's probably a spot weld here. There's probably one there. It's hard telling if there's one. I know I got one here. I've got one right here that I can see. Here, maybe here. This, and of course you can see my rust right there. Rust holes. Yeah, you start beating on metal and cleaning it up, and you're going to find where there's a rust hole down there. So we need to get this out of the way. We'll drill out these spot welds, cut this right along here, maybe even a little bit lower. We'll see. As long as I get in there and cut it and be able to clean it and grind it, make life simple. But I've noticed that when I take a drill bit and don't just go and poke and push, I kind of let it center itself in the low spot of that spot weld. So I'm gonna we'll pick this one right here. Okay, that one right there. So what I'm going to do is put the bit in there and just kind of start slow and let it walk itself to the low spot of that spot weld. And you can't go by the vision, the look of it, because the spot weld or the drill bit wants to go to the lowest spot. And once I find my center and I think I'm happy with it, just load her up a little bit. It appears I grabbed an old one, but still pretty good. Then after that, I like these things. You can buy these at Harbor Freight or you know, Menards or someplace like that. It's like a 3-pack, different sizes and all that for, you know, they're usually $3 or $4 or $5. And again, if I was doing this for a living, they probably wouldn't last 2 days, but they last me a long time because I have another living I do. That's a different story. So I use a step bit, and I like to take that pilot hole and if you noticed, I don't know if you were able to see it through the camera, once I got to where that spot weld is about gone, you see a puff of rust, little rust dust. That tells me I've got it. So what I'm going to do is shut you guys off, go through here and get all these out, then we'll show you how I get it busted loose, because you're not going to get it perfect. I'll go ahead and get this cut out. Let's get this thing out and get the job done. I'm going to answer my cell phone again because, you know, I guess junk box is popular. Seen a few. Alright. Spot welds drilled out. At least the ones I can find. There might be another one right here. But I'm pretty sure the metal behind this is just going to come right apart, so it's not a huge deal. Up here it's a little more important because I'm trying to save this and I'm saving this. And I'll probably do the same trick I did on the other side and just shift this a little bit and then, you know, weld it up. So I went ahead and started this just kind of fell apart. It wasn't spot welded very good. So I got behind there and got started and just went up through there with my little Powermate air hammer. Cheap little air hammer. I think it was like 20 bucks or something. The good thing about it is it's small. You can buy a big heavy duty one, which is great for stuff like I do for a real living. But in this case, this is perfect for sheet metal. Let me get my earmuffs on. So I just work my way through here, right? Then I also did find that I had a spot weld here that I wasn't aware of. Went ahead and stopped, drilled it out. I should be able to there you go. You see that? Part of what does bother me about just then when I knocked that loose, this went down. Probably not necessarily the end of the world, but it's something I got to look at when, you know, we go to put stuff back together. Now the other side didn't do that. It stayed there. This side did. So I don't know if, and again, I have the trunk lid still on here so I can close it and kind of see as I'm working on things where it's at. Trunk lid needs work as well, but as long as it's the trunk lid I'm gonna use, we're gonna use that to, you know. But if I need to jack this up, you know, bracing it up's a little late now, but you know, this is the kind of things you run into. So I'm gonna get my air hammer. I'm not gonna bore you with it, and I'm gonna fight this and get this bracket off. Then yeah, we're gonna look at that and kind of see why. You know, double check the trunk, how it sits. Make sure that we don't have to jack this up before I put this brace back in and re-weld it. We'll figure it out. You know, it's just metal. You just replace it, re-weld it, cut it, whatever you gotta do, right? Every good weld is just a grind away. Alright. Figured out something. One of these adjustable, you know, paint with a roller, make it longer or shorter type of deals. I don't think it was the weight of the trunk lid. It was more of the torsion bars that belong there and made it want to twist. So what I did was, before I took my piece out, braced up that trunk lid till those holes were right lined back up again. So that's okay. We averted for now. And again, something happens down the road when I go to building the car and finish the body work's not lining up, hey, I guarantee you I can cut this out and redo it if I need to. It'll suck donkey balls, no doubt. You know, life goes on. So I have, you see my Sharpie mark here. There's a little bit of rust up here, but it's in pretty good shape. It's solid. I can see where it was rusted out. Right there. There's a hole. A couple of holes and all that, so it's a good thing, just like on the other side. So, missed a couple spot welds. It's not horrible. Right there is where I missed one. Just got back there and it pretty much came right off. Missed one here. Just grabbed the piece and it came right off. So it's savable. The bracket part is savable. So now I'm going to cut this out, flatten her out with my boot on the garage floor. Excuse me, the barn floor. And then we'll go to the next step. Alright. There you go. Got her cut out. Took had to swap out to my angled grinder with the cutoff wheel. Got her right in there and popped her right off. And there's our piece that come out of there. So and it gotta be perfectly flat. It's flat enough to get a pattern off of. It's not going to be exactly the same size anyhow. You can kind of see, now you see where when I did that, see this little trough right here, that's the metal I'm replacing. That's how thin it was. Makes it crack right through there. So as bad as any kind of mistake as I can make in repairing this, it's going to be way better than this. Probably stronger from factory, you know. Alright, get a piece of sheet metal, get that trimmed out, cut out. We'll go to the shaping thing. And the shaping thing is, you know, it's nice and flat here. It starts going around, and at the end it goes this way, right up here. We'll use the old ball hitch trick, and unfortunately it's a couple hours of tappy tappy tappy. You know, what do you want to do? I'd rather do that, drink a beer or two, than to buy this whole panel. You know, there's another couple weeks of me trying to get it in there. Sure, could have mini tubbed it, right? Old buddy Mike Myers just mini tubbed it. Okay, well, problem is the frame rail runs right here. Let alone the springs are over here. So I'm going to move the springs from the outboard of the frame rail to inside the frame rail, or pocket them inside the frame rail, so I can get pretty wide tires just right to here. But if I mini tub this, you know, what's the point when you got a frame rail right there? Then I'm cutting the frame, and that makes it a whole totally different kind of car. I'm not building a race car. Hot street car. Get back with you. Alright, there's that. Now I marked it with a Sharpie around the outside edge. And when I cut it out, I'm going to cut it out from the outside edge of the Sharpie, because by the time I take this flat piece of metal, curve it and manipulate it and do whatever I got to do to get it to fit in the hole that I'm trying to fill, this is going to be just a little bit smaller. And it actually won't. It'll be overlapping, which that's fine, until I go to weld it, and I'll cut and butt wherever I need to and get it to drop down. Sort of like I did over there, and it worked out fine. So let me get this cut out. We'll see what it looks like. Alright, got her cut out. Just kind of sitting in there because, you know, it's just me, and I got the two hands. The one's got a camera and the other one's got a Sharpie. Well, so what we'll do is, looking at this, like I said, it sort of starts flat. And if I'm careful, I'm going to mark this right here, ish, right around here. I just want to use a little shading. Now this is a little bit overlapped, which is okay, but I know that it starts to curve right about there. And you know, it's not rocket scientist, it doesn't have to be super accurate. And I can use the light from my lights, knowing that right there and right there is where it needs to go that way. Again, we're just shading, you know, so that's where we're going to start with the pieces that line up, and then work our way down the road. So I get set up, I'll show you a little bit more, but that's the start of it. There's a little gap there, but at the end of the day, I'm not scared of a gap. You know, it's tough to weld a gap up. By the time you weld that gap up and you fill it with weld and you grind it off, grind it smooth, you've got good penetration, you got a good weld. So that's okay. Alright, well, got my working gloves on. These are pretty nice. They're thick enough, they protect my hands, they haven't worn through yet, but thin enough I can, you know, of course if you weld stuff, you get little holes, you know. But you're currently clamped to my loft that's in my barn. That's another whole long story. So we got our shaded line here, and I've already done it a little bit, and just for a second or two I might go into some fast motion. It's already starting to bend over.
We're headed down to the swamp. We're gonna jump around and stomp. We're headed down to the swamp, yeah. We're gonna jump around and stomp. We're headed down to the swamp. We're gonna jump around and stomp. We're headed down to the swamp. We're gonna jump around and stomp. We're headed down to the swamp, yeah. We're gonna jump around and stomp. We're headed down to the swamp. We're gonna jump around and stomp.
Well, a couple hours of all of that. It is the next day, by the way. Hopefully I can figure out how to put that in fast motion and it won't be so boring. So, got her in there, and it's laying on top of most of the metal except for down here. You know, you're pretty much flush right here and on the other side. So we're just sitting on top. Crown is sitting on top of the crown, and it needs, I mean, it's pretty much there. It just doesn't look like, you know, once it sets in and sets down flush to the level of the playing field, so to speak, it'll drop in. So now what I'm going to do is Of course, I'll put it right here where it's flush, spot weld that, probably on the other side, pretty close somewhere, or you know, push her in and spot weld it. Then what I'll do is take my die grinder and cut around and work it in, right? You know, a little dolly and hammer action around, trying to get it leveled out. Of course, when metal is hot, it moves a little bit more. And again, this is inside the trunk. You know, if I was making a piece for, say, the top of the fender, or you know, some really kind of intricate thing, you'd spend a whole lot of time trying to make sure that it fits right naturally, right? I'm just in the ballpark, because what'll happen is this is thicker metal than this by not very much. This is 18, I'm sure, and this is 16. So as I go and move it around, it's going to move this metal really more than it's going to move this metal. So, you know, you wouldn't want all this on the outside of the body. You end up having all kind of stuff going on, but it's inside the trunk, so I just want it solid. So let me get that tack in action, see what happens. Well, there we go. Didn't go as easy as I'd want it to, but this sort of thing just, I guess it ain't going to. So got her along the bottom, back cut the original metal, just kept on going, working my way along. And of course I had trouble on the top. Of course, you're going this way, it gets closer and closer to that cut, so I had to keep back cutting it till it would lay down. And by the time I did all that, you know, I got a little gappy here and there, but it's not bad. Probably hammer and dolly this a little bit, get this all solid welded up and ground down. I'll show you what it looks like before we go putting our bracketry back on. Alright. Got her welded in, solid. Just little tack welds. I'd stop, come down here and go this way, you know, maybe about an inch or so. Just zap, 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 zap. Of course, once you get to where you're blowing through, stop, because you're too thin or too much of a gap. That gap wasn't a big deal to weld. Just a little bit of grinding to do now. Get her cleaned up, get our bracketry back on. Well, there you go. It's definitely not perfect. It's got a little bit of the lumpies way up here on top, and you can not really tell. But we'll be able to doll that up when we go to do a little body working and painting in here. So, got my bracket, got it all straightened out, cleaned up on the back side. Screw here, suck it all together. One screw here, a couple of vice grips. And I did the same thing as I did the other side. I just shifted it just a little bit this way. No harm in doing that. And we'll weld it all up. We'll check it out when we're done. Be glad when this one's over. Well, she's in there. Looks pretty fair to middling. It's definitely solid. I'll let that broomstick apparatus loose, and as I did, I watched my rear cowl and it didn't move. So it's where it was to start with. Hey, but again, we cutty fixy if that's the thing, right? Oh yeah, ran out of wire, but as you can see, I got plenty of it. This was a pain in the butt. Had me a little rigged up here, had a socket cut so I could put it in the spool, because this won't fit in my welder, and ring with my drill, and it's, yeah, I don't know, this is, I can tell this is nicer wire than I've been using. This is industrial stuff, so I'll figure out how to do this a little bit easier and wind me up 3 or 4 spools at a time, and that's enough wire to last me the rest of my life. Jeez. Alright, so got her together. couple 3 hours last night, couple 3 or 4 hours a day. It's a done deal. Like I said, I'll use my thinned out pour 15, get back in there and just seal that up. You know, solid, a little bit of work, but we're done. I did purchase a couple of these. Look right. There's your, oh wait, yeah. There's the trunk opening. You know, got one for each side. It's a pretty big panel. Goes all the way up into the wing and all that stuff. Pretty expensive, so I'm going to use as much of it as I think I need to, for sure. This lower section anyway. Once I do that, a little easier to, and of course I won't do that until the trunk's in and I can build my inner structure and all that kind of stuff, you know, fix all this, get my tail pan in and on down the road. But that's for another video. Wanted to run something by you guys. I'm thinking of changing the channel's name. I kind of like Junk's Garage. My old buddy Ralph would like Junkboxmike's Automotive Repair and Restoration. Seems too long, and I'm not good with long sentences anyway, so let alone spelling. But you guys let me know what you think. Just commenter down there. Come up with some patches and stickers, and I'd like to get to the 1,000 mark for subscribers. So I think once we do that, I'll give something away. I'll have a little contesty thing. I don't know. I don't know what I'll give away, but it'd be cool. So keep that in mind too. Share it, subscribe. Let's see where we can go with this thing. And it's fun us hanging out together, and more of us getting involved. I think it'll be even more fun. So we're going to call this in a video, like car video, fixing stuff video. We'll try to see if I can't get you one out next weekend. We'll see you guys.